Hello everyone, how are you? I'm fine. So welcome to my channel. Today we'll be doing a trigonometry grade 11, and then we'll be doing the second last part, which is reduction angles. Yeah, I think it is the second last part because we pushed identities, we pushed the quadrants, whereby you know which one is positive in which quadrants. Yeah, so it is seems like it is the that last part, because manje we are left with numerical. See, we are left with numerical reduction with algebraic ratios, what, and then we have what you call general solution. Okay, let's get on with the work. So we have trigonometry reduction angles, whereby we reduct an angle. Manje I have maybe sine 225. It's too much, and it so manje I have what you call reduction angles. I use these reduction angles and reduct this thing so that I can put it gahle, so that it can be a usual angle, like maybe reduct this to be sine 45. You understand? Because there's marks. So today we'll be doing revision of the cast diagram that I showed you the other day, and then cast diagram with reduction angles, so that you can know how it works. And then I'm gonna do the co-ratios whereby sine changes to cos, because of 90 degrees. We're gonna do negative angles whereby cos negative theta is only positive and the other ones are negative, and then we'll try to check some examples. Okay, so let's check reduction angles. So this is the cast diagram that I was telling you about, the one we did last time. So which is the quadrants. So in the first quadrant it is all, whereby everything is positive, and in the second quadrant it is what? Sine, which is what? Whereby only sine is positive. Sine, it is what? Opposite over hypotenuse, plus and plus, and then the third one only tan is positive, which is negative and negative, and then the last one, which is cos, plus and a plus. So in the reduction angles we are going to be using the very same things, whereby in the first quadrant everything is positive, second quadrant only sine is positive, third quadrant only cos is positive, third quadrant only tan is positive, and then the last quadrant, which is the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive. So the first thing that I would like to show you is that in the first quadrant, they usually do this. I separated these things, but I want to show you something. So in the first quadrant, everything is positive. I have my what you call my reduction angles. So before everything I want to show you, we use these angles to reduct a certain angles, like we use 90, 180 and 360. These are your reduction angles. These are your reduction angles. So you use 90, 180 and 360. So these are your reduction angles. Okay, so let me show some notes on the first quadrant. On the first quadrant I have 90 minus theta, but it is what in brackets, and it is called, let me put this, sine 90 minus theta. So we'll check this one later on in the co-ratios. Let me show the business of the day. So I will start in the second quadrant, because in the first quadrant it is mostly about co-ratios, which I want to check later on. Okay, so I have sine here. I need to know what in the second quadrant only sine is positive. So this one, it is called 180 minus theta. 180 minus theta, it is what? The second quadrant, whereby only sine is positive, because sine 180 minus theta is equal to sine theta. So in the reduction angles, you say sine and then you write that theta. That end 180 disappears. It is just there to reduct and to be present to reduct. But manje, let me write it here. So if you find yourself having cos and then 180 minus theta, know what it is equal to? Negative cos theta, because in the second quadrant only sine is positive. And then if you have tan 180 minus theta, it is what? Negative tan theta, because in the second quadrant only sine is positive. Let's go to the third quadrant. The third quadrant, it is 180 plus theta. Okay, and it is what? In the third quadrant, what did I say? Only tan is positive. So tan 180 plus theta is what? Positive tan theta. But sine 180 plus theta is what? It is equal to negative sine theta. So whenever you see sine 180 plus theta, know what it is negative sine theta. Okay, and this one has a mark. This one has a mark because you know what you know your things. And then let me show you another thing. Sorry, these things. And then I have what? Cos 180 plus theta, which is what? Negative cos theta. So same applies for tans. I showed you tan. And then the last quadrant, which is what? Cos. So this is 360 minus theta, which is the same as what? Cos 360 minus theta. It is what? Is equals to positive cos theta. But tan 360 minus theta, it's what? Negative tan theta. So I hope you understand it. So in the first quadrant, everything is positive. In the second quadrant, only sine is positive. And in the second quadrant, it is what? 180 minus theta. In the third quadrant, it is what? Wait, in the second quadrant, okay guys, let me chill. In the first quadrant, everything is positive. In the second quadrant, it is 180 minus theta, which is positive for sine. In the third quadrant, 180 plus theta, which is positive for tan. In the fourth quadrant, 360 minus theta, which is positive for cos. Understand it? So it is just like that. So let me check. We are done with the revision of cast diagram. We are done with the cast diagram with reduction angles. Let's do co-ratios. Let's check the co-ratios now. So the co-ratio, check. The co-ratios, it is when sine changes to cos. When cos changes to sine. The reason why they change, it is changed by 90. So in the first quadrant, everything is positive. So 90 minus theta, it is cos theta. Cos 90 minus theta, it is what? Sin theta. And 90 minus theta, it is in the first quadrant. But in the second quadrant, it is what? 90 plus theta. So in the first quadrant, in the second quadrant, it is what? For sine, which is positive for sine only. Sine 90 plus theta, it is equal to positive cos theta. But cos 90 plus theta, it is what? Negative sine theta. The reason for that, it is, remember, in the second quadrant, only sine is positive. So wherever you see sine and then you see 90 and then you see a plus or minus theta, you know what it must change to cos. And then just know what sine 90 plus theta, sine 90 minus theta, it is always positive cos theta. But manje, cos 90 plus theta, it is negative sine theta, and then cos 90 minus theta, it is the only one for positive sine theta. Okay, so co-ratios, 90 changes sine to cos, cos to sine. So 90 minus theta for sine and cos, it is positive, but sine 90 plus theta, it is positive cos theta. Cos 90 plus theta, it is what? Negative sine theta. Okay, I hope now you understand. But tan 90 plus theta cannot change. It will be what? Tan theta. It will not change. So only sine and cos are changed by 90. Let's go to the negative angles. So negative angles, I simplify my maths. Negative angles. Okay, so negative angles, we have something like this, whereby this is your negative theta. So the first thing that you must know, a negative angle, see, it is where you have cos and then negative theta. So this one, cos negative theta, it is what? Positive cos theta. But sine negative theta, it is what? Negative sine theta. And then tan negative theta, it is equal to negative tan theta. The reason for all of this, it is the graphs. My graph for cos is something like this, so this is 1, this is 1, this is 90, negative 90, this is 90. So if you can put cos negative 90, you'll get 1, cos 90, you'll get 1. So that's why they are saying it is positive. But if you now go to sine, which is like this, check, in my positive side, my 90 is maximum, in my negative side, my 90 is minimum, you see. So it is what? Negative 90, and then it is negative 1 and positive 1. So it is negative, it is not balancing. For tan, I hate this graph, something like this, whatever. So just know what the co-ratios, let's revise. The co-ratios, sine and cos are changed by 90. So 90 changes sine to cos, cos to sine. But tan is not changed by 90. And the negative angle is cos negative theta, it is cos theta. Sin negative theta, it is what? Negative sin theta. Tan negative theta, it is what? Negative tan theta. Okay? So now, let's go to the examples. Yeah, at least you can do 1 or 2 examples, I'm not sure. So let's do these examples, guys. Okay? So they are saying simplify it or evaluate it, and then they are saying 8 marks or 7 marks. Sometimes you'll be given cos 225, sine 80, whatever. You have to redact it, whatever. So we'll check those ones later on. So check this one. 180 plus theta, it is where? In the third quadrant, which is positive for tan. So when if you see cos here, no good, it is what? Negative cos x. You get your 1 mark. Manje 180 minus theta, it is positive where? In this, it is for second quadrant, where sine is positive. Or Maramanja, I see tan. So you're just gonna say times negative tan x, because tan is positive in the third quadrant. And then manje, I see what? 180 plus theta, and 180 plus x, which is where? In the third quadrant. Which trig ratio is positive in the third quadrant? Tan. But manje, I see what? Sine. So it is what? Negative sine x. You see? You just have to know your cast diagram and your reduction angles. 180 minus theta, it is positive for which it is in the second quadrant. What is positive in the second quadrant? Sine. What is here? Sine. So it is just positive sine x times sine x. Yeah, so manje, let's simplify things. My negative times my negative, it is positive, so I can eliminate this one and I'll be left with that one. So it will be positive cos x times tan x times negative sine x over sine times sine, it is sine squared x. But let me represent it like this: sine x, because man, I will have to cancel somewhere. So let me write cos x times tan can be, it is an identity, remember. So it is what? Sine x over cos x. Yeah, and then man, the last one, which is what? Negative sine x. So since this is a negative, I can put it here at the end, because check, 2 times a times negative b, this is what? Negative 2ap. So I will put the negative in the front, then times what? Sine x over, sorry guys, I need a tripod, over sine x. So manje, I can cancel. What did I say? You cancel if you what? You have a negative, you are dividing or multiplying. Don't worry about this negative sign. It is just showing what this cos is negative. These ones are multiplying, so I can do like this. Start here, they divide. This one divided this one. This one divided with this one. So my answer will be what? Negative 1. Okay, you see? So when you wanna simplify, you check. This is what you check your quadrants. 180 plus x, okay? That quadrant. 180 minus x, okay? Second quadrant. 180 plus x, that quadrant. 180 minus x, second quadrant. After all of that, you check the trig ratios that are in there. If you see 180 plus x and cos, know what it is? Negative cos x, because cos is positive in the fourth quadrant, whereby it is 360 minus. You see those things, and you get your 8 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get your marks just like that. So let's do the last example, whereby there are values which are numbers. Okay, guys, let's do that. Let's do this last example. It is simple and easy. We'll do more complex ones when we do the past exam papers. Okay, so let's check this one. This is sine 340. Remember, I have 90, I have 180, and I have what? 360, which I can use to reduct an angle. So I will start sine. I open my bracket. Which angle is closer to 340? 180 and 360. Let me check 360. So I'll write 360 here, but man, I'll say 360 minus. You must check a value, but if you subtract 360 and that number, you must get 340. So it will be 360 minus 20. 360 minus 20 is 340. You see? So you are writing 340 plus, but putting your reduction angle. Then I have cos 430 is close to 360. So I'll say 360 plus, and then plus what? Is it 430 there? So it will be what? 360 plus 70, ne? 30, 40, yes, 70. Which is what? A negative sine 20 over what? Cos 70. So I want to show something here, guys. There's a link. You can solve, but there's a link. This cos 70 can be changed to sin 20. How? Cos and sine can be changed by 90. So I'll say 90 minus 20. 90 minus 20 is what? 70. So it will be what? Cos 90 minus theta, it is what? Positive. So it will be negative sine 20 over what? Cos, over sine 20. Cos, and then if there's a 90 and a cos, it will be sine. And then these ones will cancel, and then I'm left with my negative 1. We're done. Okay, so we'll be doing more examples whereby you have the sine 240, tan 135, tan 120 over sine 150, sine 210, cos 330, whatever they have. So I hope you enjoyed, guys. Thank you very much. We'll do more question papers when time goes on.